Hey everyone, it's Kit.Nicole and welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Box for Operation Christmas Child. Now if you're wondering exactly what this series is about, we're just looking beyond packing a shoebox and just looking at the countries that these boxes actually go to. So for today, we are looking at Costa Rica. Now Costa Rica is a receiving country for Canadian shoeboxes. So since I'm Canadian, hey! So the next few countries we're going to be looking at is going to be the ones that Canada sends to pretty much. So if you're an American though, please don't tune away, as this episode will be a little bit interesting for you because there's actually a large amount of Americans that will retire to Costa Rica. So if you're ever using it as your retirement plan, stick around. Okay, so first off, the name Costa Rica actually translates to rich coast. The country in and of itself is actually very rich in mineral resources, so hence the name. Their population is around 5.2 million, and more than 1 million of that number is actually children under the age of 15. Most Costa Ricans are of European descent, with about 10% actually being Nicaraguan, and once you wrap all the numbers together, only about 1% of the population is actually considered indigenous. Now, on top of all that, about 20% of the population, so again, roughly just over 1 million, of the people actually live in poverty. Now, any poverty situation is actually quite a big deal. But for Costa Rica, their poverty rate is lower compared to other Central American / Latin American countries. Now, Costa Rica's Independence Day was September 15th, 1821, and it actually took about a month for the general population to know about this because it was delivered via courier on a mule. Now, the Costa Rican flag was initially inspired by the French Revolution. There are two versions of this flag. The first is Bandera Nacional, and the other one is Pabellon Nacional. And I apologize if I'm butchering any Spanish words here, or just words in general, because I took Spanish for like one term back in grade 9 and that was it. So again, my apologies. So the main difference between these two flags is that the first doesn't have the national shield and the second one does. And the flag that is used all depends on whether it's a festival, say, or say an important office. The colors of the flag represent the country's ideals. So blue for the sky, opportunities within reach, intellectual thinking, perseverance, eternity, religious ideals, and spiritual desires. White is for clear thinking, happiness, wisdom, power, natural beauty, peace, and Costa Rican initiative. Lastly, the red represents the warmth of the people, their love for life, and the blood spilled during the fight for freedom. Now, I'm not going to dive into the coat of arms, as it's a very layered thing and has a lot of information in it, but I do have a link down in the description below if you want to take a look at that. Now, the official language is Spanish. Their national flower is the orchid, and on the subject of flowers, it is actually wise to not give a Costa Rican a lily, as lilies are reserved for funerals. So when you're packing your box, if you're feeling like doing a flower theme, maybe abstain from lilies. Just a thought. Now, climate-wise, there is no winter because they are so close to the equator, but they do have a dry season running from December to April. And outside of that, of course, you've got the rainy season. And Costa Ricans actually have about 12 different names for rain. So the total land area of Costa Rica is 51,100 square kilometers. And it's roughly about the size of West Virginia. A quarter of the country's land, though, is set aside for national parks and refuges. And the country itself is home to many volcanoes, some of which are still active. So the official religion is Roman Catholic, and strangely enough, all Catholic churches there face to the west. About 75% of people claim to be Catholic, but realistically only about 45% of them practice it. Evangelical Christians are the second largest religious group there. In terms of animals, there is a native species of lizard there that will run across the surface of the water when alarmed. It is commonly referred to as the Jesus Christ lizard. Costa Rica is also home to a quarter of all hummingbirds in the world, which is, there's like over 300 something thousand. I forget the number. Education-wise, education in general was made free and mandatory in 1869. The country itself has a 97.9 literacy rate, which is extremely high, especially for the rural areas. So overall, they have a very strong sense of the need for education there. Children coming from families that say, for whatever reason, can't actually make it to school or afford to go to school, are taught via radio lessons. And if you're wondering about the whole afford to go to school comment, they do have to actually purchase their own uniforms, which come from the school store. And yeah, so just a simple polo shirt isn't quite enough. Every school has its own little emblem on it as well. All right, now for this next section, going to rapid fire some cultural facts. Well, here up in Canada and the US, well, whistling at a beautiful lady is considered not socially acceptable anymore. Down in Costa Rica, though, that is exactly how the men express an appreciation for beauty. And this can also go alongside with giving compliments and just plain out staring. They have a deep respect for the beauty of the people around them. So if you go down there and feel a little bit put off, just try to be polite. They're not meaning you any harm by it. Now, while you may call your significant other your better half, in Costa Rica they refer to their significant others as the other half of the orange. Now, there is a day celebrated known as Dia de los Boyeros. This translates to the Day of the Cowherders. I did not dive deeper into why, but they have a real big appreciation for those that herd cows. Now, Costa Rica is one of the largest exporters of microchips in the world, and many of the big tech companies actually have facilities set up down there for that purpose. And last but not least, there is actually a small unofficial country inside Costa Rica known as Arecu, I think that's how you say it, sorry. It formed in 1995, but it is not actually recognized by the government or the UN. But anyways, despite all this, they have a population of about 5,000 people. They have a flag, a national anthem, and they also have soldiers as well. Now, to wrap things up, OCC does have some prayer requests just for Costa Rica. The first is for the churches that are partnered with the program as they train and prepare for the distribution events and for the follow-up events afterwards. They also ask for prayer for the training of teachers for the Greatest Journey program, which is their follow-up program to the whole distribution event. And lastly, they just ask for prayer for the children receiving the shoeboxes to experience Christ's love and that their hearts are open to the message of the gospel as well. So thanks for tuning in today. I hope you got a little bit of inspiration for your shoeboxes out of this. And yeah, that's it. Stay tuned. I've got, there's about 7 more countries that I want to get through before collection week starts. So every couple of weeks I'll be dropping one of these. So have yourselves a good day, happy shoeboxing, and stay blessed. Bye!